for Winnipeg Centre.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Président.
Thank you very much.
In the House of Commons for debate on Bill C-235, an act to amend the Criminal Code and the Corrections and Conditional Release Act. It's an act that looks at fetal alcohol spectrum disorder in the criminal justice system and to make it more responsive to the needs of our society. It's incredible today in 2016 that we still lock up people who suffer and that we have little to no account for the impact that means on their mental health and their long-term outcomes. In this case, we are talking about FASD. And we're talking about the outcomes it has on the criminal justice system and the hopeful rehabilitation of our fellow citizens. In Winnipeg, I've had the great privilege of meeting youth who have been impacted by FASD, youth who want to contribute to our society. In Life's Journey, an organization in Winnipeg Centre, it helps them by offering training and supports to our fellow citizens so that they can navigate life more successfully. Now, FASD has symptoms that affect the central nervous systems. These include learning difficulties, difficulty with social interactions, behavior affected by impulse and passion with consequences impacting social interactions, and also memory issues. In my interactions with these youth, I spoke to them about politics and what we do here in this House. And it was just only last month. I also had the opportunity of seeing them working with the drum, using traditional Indigenous healing techniques to make their lives better. And they did those drumming with such passion. They lived in the moment. It was as if there was no tomorrow. It was not in 10 minutes that we're going to be living, but right now, today. They sang Kichi Manitou Makwa, which is a song called Great Bear Spirit. And it was great. And I was proud to participate with them. Now, I've had the opportunity of reading the annual report of the Office of the Correctional Investigator. In January 2016, they reported that the federal corrections system had a sad milestone. 25% of the inmate population in federal penitentiaries are comprised of Indigenous peoples. That is 35% for Indigenous women, and between 2005 and 2015, the federal inmate population grew by 10%. In the same period, the Indigenous population grew by 50%. Now, we all know these stats here in this House. It was a decade of darkness, this growth. We have become ready in our society to lock up and throw away the keys of people who are suffering. People like James, who I met at the John Howard Society, who has been in and out of prison most of his adult life. And as an Indigenous man, he has been given no support, except now with the John Howard Society. A man, James, who suffers from FASD. He is my relation. He is all of our relations. He is my brother. And I believe he too can become a productive member of our society. This bill is the work of the honourable member from Yukon, and I'm very proud of what he has done. It is comprised of 4 recommendations which come from the Canadian Bar Association. This association represents thousands of lawyers who deal with this affliction every day. This bill will allow the courts to order an assessment to determine if a person charged with a crime has FASD. If the assessment is positive, it allows the judge to use it as a mitigating factor in sentencing in certain circumstances. Third, when a person with FASD is in custody, the bill directs that FASD be added to the already prescribed list of special needs that the correctional institution must be responsive to. And most importantly, the offenders with FASD shall have an external support plan when they leave prison, so they don't immediately reoffend or miss a probation meeting. And, as judges often say, use the revolving door of a broken system again and again and again, and end up in my riding, clogging up, unfortunately, our justice system. On December 18th, 2015, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission issued its final report honoring the truth and also reconciling with the future. The Government of Canada has committed to implementing all of these recommendations, Mr. Speaker, and these goals are important and they're also very ambitious. The TRC's calls to action impact corrections as well. And so I'm going to read those impacts or the calls to action which impact corrections. 1, to eliminate the overrepresentation of Aboriginal people and youth in custody over the next decade. 2, implement community sanctions that provide realistic alternatives to imprisonment for Aboriginal offenders and respond to the underlying causes of offending. 3, eliminate barriers to the creation of additional Aboriginal healing lodges within the federal correctional system. 4, enact statutory exemptions from mandatory minimum sentences for imprisonment for offenders affected by fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. 4, and reduce the rate of criminal victimization of Aboriginal people. We promised that during the election. I promised that during the election. And I think this bill goes a long way to making a difference. It's going to go a long way to making this system more responsive. Now, I've been told that there are some provincial justice ministers who are concerned with this bill. But I would say to them that they should remember what their title says. It says Justice Minister. And as a justice minister, they must offer justice to all Canadians. It is unjust when young people with FASD do not receive the community supports they need, when they end up in prison because of a series of poor choices they make throughout their life. And we should be focused on ensuring that our most vulnerable fellow citizens are not in prison due to a lack of resources or time or effort or cost, or perhaps just the plain laziness of bureaucracy and the inability of systems to be flexible. So, Mr. Speaker, I would hope that our government will be able to support this legislation. I hope my fellow parliamentarians will hear the call from the honourable member from Yukon for the great work he has done, because it is important. It is one small step in realizing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's 94 recommendations, and it's a path that we can make today. It's something we can start today. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Tapwe akitwam. Merci.
Reprise